YouTube land, cell phone land, whatever you're watching this on land, iPad land. I have a plethora of pistolas today.
A what? A plethora. Oh, yes. You have a plethora. Jefe, what is a plethora? Why, guapo? Well, you told me I have a plethora. And I just would like to know if you know what a plethora is. I would not like to think that a person would tell someone he has a plethora and find out that that person has no idea what it means to have a plethora.
German pistolas. Well, they look it, don't they? But there's a secret about these pistols. This one's obvious. It's a BB gun. But can you tell which others are BB guns and which is the real gun? Well, BB gun. Yeah, I can make a band now. BB gun, real gun. Okay, so what are we looking at here? These two are cyber guns. This is my oldest one. It's a simple spring-powered BB gun. This one's in rough shape. If I drop the magazine, it's almost impossible to get back in. Spring-powered. Nothing fancy to it. It can take down, but I'm not going to do it on this. Oh, okay, I'm going to do it. Forget it. I'll do it, guys. So the takedown on these, you have to, it's almost like a 1911. You have to push that out, pull, and then the top comes off. That's pretty much it for these. Nothing else comes out on the inside. It's all locked in place. But hey, it's a cyber gun. It's the name of the brand. Get them at Walmart. So they're not exactly the hardest things in the world to get. They are a pain in the butt to put back together. Oh, that's what I didn't want happening. I'll show you why in a minute. There's something wrong. Broken on the magazine catch. If you're not careful, the whole thing comes out. It's really hard to get back in. I'm going to pause, reassemble this because you don't want to. Okay, got it back together. You got safe, fire, cock the hammer, fire. All plastic. It's scary enough that my dad used to think this was his service pistol. For the longest time, my dad had a Smith & Wesson, don't know the exact make, but it was 38 special. That was it. He didn't even have a 357. And then it wasn't until like early 2000s that he actually was issued a semi-automatic. He was a OPP officer, so they got the nice stuff. And his was nice. His was in 40 caliber. All right. So we'll go into the other cyber gun here. This is a slightly updated version. This one I have neutered, unfortunately. You can still function it, but what I've done was you can still pull the trigger. There's no loud snap or bang. Magazine's different than the first cyber gun. Loads on the back. It is just a single shot, spring powered again. Safety does function on this. It just, anyways. So what I've done to modify this was I've messed around with the takedown, so it actually takes down much more like a real pistola. You can see I cut the circle there. So anyways, I thought you'd find that interesting. This is just for prop costume kind of stuff. All right, we'll put that one aside. We'll get on to these two, because these two are the interesting ones, if you ask me. Only one of these is SIGs, and only one of these is real. This is real. This is a SIG. How is that possible, you say? The key is right up here. show you in a close-up. It's a NORINCO. Other markings, you have a serial number penciled onto the slide, and you have a CN for a Canadian, CN and a CA on the frame, and its serial number as well. Stippled I've never actually tried lining up sights. Anyways, here are the sights. Kind of dirtied white dots. Alright, the other one, like I said, is a Sig. And I'll show you the markings on that as well. There you have it. Sig SAUER P in focus. Sig SAUER P226. This is the Marine edition. It's got all these weird, kind of cool pseudo proofs on it, I would say. But you can also see the pellet. So it is a pellet gun. It has a serial number as well. I don't know why. And then you have your made in Nippon. And then you have, oh sorry guys, this is shaky. I'm trying to get it in focus. Warning, not a toy. Blah 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 blah. Another Sig P226. You have serrations. Alright, so enough of looking at them. How does this one function? This one functions. It has blowback. Fires. Safety does decock it, but it stays in the lower position for the safe function. So it's not quite like the real one. Has a small magazine, which I've lost. Lost as in misplaced somewhere in my house. CO2 goes in the back. Nice thing about this, it has the rails, which I use it for training, dry firing, with a Mantis-like device. It has a threaded barrel. As for the takedown, even though it's really cool, you can see the takedown levers on this side here and on here. No function. Slide hold open, no function. So, looks the part, it feels the part. The trigger pull on this guy here is actually pretty good, I would say. When you put the magazine in, it's actually a revolver. So, that does not feel real. You have this weird kind of like click, 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 clunk, click, 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 clunk, and then you hit a wall. And then it will fire. But, let's have a look at the trigger pull on double action. Ow! That hurt. Ow! Well, that literally broke everything at 6.5 pounds. I just punched. Ow! Try that one again without. Ow! Ow! I need to learn how to do this properly. Why is that so painful? And why is this so hard? Okay. That went over 8 pounds. I believe that. It's breaking at just slightly over 8 pounds. Ow! Not having to cock the hammer back in single action, you get 4.5 pounds. Little more reasonable. So, regardless, it is a good analog for training. I can't believe how stupid I was. Ow, I actually hurt myself. Don't tell the Canadian Department of Firearm Safety, or they will call that the firearm accent, eh? Anyways, I'm not joking. In Canada, if a child gets injured with a BB gun, they'll call that an actual firearm injury. Anyways, give me a second. I'm going to bring up some stats, and I'll tell you all about the P226 and the NP22. Okay, so let's go over the function. This one doesn't have a magazine in it right now because I don't feel like digging out my magazine container. Magazine release. Deconquer. Double action. Single action. Racks, just like a real one. Hold open. Drop the hold open. If you notice, just like the real one, when you do that, it bounces right back like it's supposed to. Put it back in hold open. Rotate the takedown. Pull back. Slide forward. Comes off. Recoil spring and guide. There's no plug, not like a 1911. This one has a laser trainer in it, which is a pain to get out. Barrel. Ramp polished. I polished the ramp myself. Didn't do anything other than that. There's the inside of your slide. There's the inside there. Got your ejector. You have your disconnect. And it's exactly like a 1911, nothing fancy there. I'll take the grips off. 1911, oh, 19, sorry, the 226 has some interesting stuff going under the grip. Now, these are actually very, very similar. There are some wonky things like that washer in the grip there. And from a design point of view, it spans quite a few 1911s all in one, which is, I keep calling 1911, the 226 all in, a couple generations of them, should I say. And there's different versions of the 226, so I'm not going to get into micro details about what's different, but you can see this one has the strut on the back, has all the little coiled loop springs and stuff like that. So it has an aluminum or aluminum alloy frame. So it's the lighter version. You can see all the mechanisms. Ugh. That's the disconnect. Shouldn't do that, but one fire's not going to hurt it. Alright guys, so what's the deal about this? How is it similar? How is it different? Well, the original P226, which would look something similar to this guy here, came out, was in development from 1980 to 1983. Started production in 1984. Most people know it was in the running to be the next service weapon for the United States Army. It lost to the Beretta 92 FS. Well, after a couple modifications to the Beretta 92 series, it was designed to replace the 1911. Has a 9mm, which, I mean, the original had a difference between 9mm, 7.65 Parabellum, 9x21 for you European folks. Had a 357 Sig and a 40 S&W. Like I said, my dad was issued the 1 in 40 S&W. And it's kind of funny when you tell people my father carried a Sig P226 and 40 Smith & Wesson, they say, oh, that's not possible. No. They never issued them. They never issued them to the OPP. They never issued 226s to the OPP. They got the 228s. Well, I can guarantee you my dad had 226. So that's coming from the word of the bird. All right, guys. So, like I said, this is the original version here. You can see there's no frame. No rail on the bottom of the frame here. The guard is very similar. This one kicks out a little bit more. It's for that older, now obsolete finger on the trigger guard pose. I don't consider it obsolete. I say shoot what works for you and don't worry about anything else, right? If you're a good shot and you shoot upside down hanging from a tree, then that's the way you should shoot. So the rail's different. And if you'll notice on the good licensed replica from Sig, you'll see that the grip are different here. But again, it kind of goes back to these older style grips on the original. This is a licensed copy too, and so is the other Cyber gun. So they're both licensed copies of the P226. This is the only one that's not licensed, the real one, ironically. So going back to it, so you can see the rails there, the updated grips. You would see a different mechanism in here for the mainspring if this was a real one, but it's not, so I can't show you anything there. So just know this is an older style trigger bar, or not trigger, hammer bar strut with springs. So nice thing is these guys, they are so close to the Sigs. You can replace almost everything in them with actual Sig parts. You can upgrade the mainsprings. You can upgrade the grips to a modern grip. It's quite brilliant. And also quite underhanded, I guess, on your point of view. So dimension-wise, they're 196 millimeters long, identical. 140 millimeters high, which is identical. The only discrepancy I saw, I haven't actually measured them out because I don't have the real Sig with me. Apparently, the real Sigs measure 38.1 millimeters, or 1.5 inches wide. And the NORINCO ones come in slightly narrower than that at 37 millimeters. I'm guessing that's probably just the point of measurement. Like maybe they were measuring, you know, including this or not including that. I don't know. I think they're identical in width. I don't see why they wouldn't. The weight is actually quite different, which is interesting. So the unloaded NORINCO P22 has a weight of 780 grams unloaded. I don't really care about loaded because everyone knows bullet grains, weights, they all fluctuate quite a bit depending on brand and what you like to shoot. So anyways, this one weighs 780 grams, and the actual the actual P226 weighs 870 grams. So I mean, that's almost a 100-gram difference, and I don't really know why, unless the upgrades to the more modern P226s are adding weight to it, which would be my suspicion. 100 grams is quite a lot to add, though, so I don't know where that would be. Maybe reinforcements in areas that I'm unaware of. The barrel is exactly 112 millimeters long in each. They both have 15 rounds in 9 millimeter, and they have 12 rounds in 40 millimeter, or 40 cal, not millimeter. The sight radius 159 millimeters, identical. The steel slide, the aluminum alloy frame. The earlier Sigs would have had a steel frame, which would have made them weigh quite a bit more. They have double action, single action triggers. You can get both this and the Sig with double action only. A lot of people think that's safer. I personally don't carry, so it doesn't bother me. I wouldn't want double action for anything I'm doing for fun, because double action's not fun. I guess you can call it safe. The finishes, I'm not gonna get into that. The finishes they are what they are. I mean, NORINCO only offers it in this finish. This finish here looked a lot worse when I got it. It's some sort of Parkerized-ish? I don't know what it is. It's like a cross between a Parkerized and a blued finish. But it was very, what would you call it? Not scaly, kind of ashen in appearance. So I ran it through a buffer. Not a buffer. I ran it through my carding wheel, and I got a much nicer finish, especially off the slide. The aluminum frames got a nice finish to it. It's actually not bad at all. It reminds me of, well, the lower reminds me a lot of the Beretta 92 and the way it feels and everything like that. So, slides, not interchangeable. The magazines are not interchangeable. And the sights, you cannot put Sig sights on this, which is kind of unfortunate. I mean, they go so close and they stop there. That's yeah, unfortunate. But I will say things about this though, like the barrel. People I know have dropped these in to other SIGs, and they've worked, but the fit's not ideal. And if anything to me is the most important thing, it's the barrel fit. If your barrel doesn't fit right, don't touch it. You know, I mean, it's not a smart move to mess around with stuff like that. The slides, I know people have muddled and fuddled, and same thing with the magazines. The magazine's probably your, unless you're depending on it for your life, the magazine's not a big deal to try to get a SIG to fit. There's just minor issues about the cuts and stuff like that that you have to mess around with. They're, I think, smaller on the NORINCO, smaller cuts, so they have to be enlarged slightly. Oh, sorry, it must be larger cuts on the NORINCO, need to be enlarged slightly on the SIGs. The barrels, I've just seen people do a little bit of filing on the frame rails to get them to fit. I wouldn't personally do that. I would just keep it as is. These things are incredibly reliable. They are up there with any Sig Sauer product. Yes, the Sig Sauers that are made in basically two places, America and Germany. Sorry if that had a weird accent on it or inflection. I didn't mean to say America. But anyways. Made in America and made in Germany. I'll show you some photos of the factories. And the funny thing is, Chinese guns have a habit of being called cheap or cheaply made or unreliable, and the reality is they're not. If you look at the NORINCO factories, you'll find pictures like the one I'm showing you right now, where it looks like they're made in like mud huts in the middle of, you know, mainland China in the rice paddies or something like that. The reality is NORINCO is a major manufacturer. It's a conglomerate. It's a bunch of companies all rolled into one state company. I mean, that's kind of typical what you would expect from a communist country. But they make things like this giant battle tank. So I wouldn't exactly say they're minor. I mean, they don't. Some things they don't put a lot of focus on, you know, like kids' target rifles and BB guns, but that's a completely different, really a completely different company handling something like that. Firearms are generally handled by the same factory and production lines as their actual military-grade weapons. I'll show you some more NORINCO in the future for you guys in America who don't get a chance to have a close-up of these things. But the barrel is the same. It's the, you know, the tilting barrel. It's not a. It is a Browning. It's more like the high power action. It's not a dropping block like a Beretta or a Walthers. So it's kind of interesting. It's got that exact same feature. Like I said, function wise, it's exactly the same. It's just interesting that this one, it would be a P226R with the rail, and it has the older features that you're not going to find on a SIG with a rail. So interesting gun. I hope you guys enjoyed. Alright, so I just realized I forgot to give you the trigger pull on the NORINCO. I don't think it's going to work on double action. I'm going to max out and punch myself again. Yeah, it's maxed out at 8 pounds. So, let's try single action. 6 pounds. Let's give it one more. That's 8. Let's give it one more. And that's 6. So I think 6 is more accurate. I think the 8, I was probably just pulling it a little awkward. So there you go. 6 pounds, single action. A little bit heavier than the BB gun, but it feels close enough when you're shooting. Alright guys, on to the rest of the video. The breakdown of this, if you want to stick around, I'll just do a quick reassembly. If you don't want to stick around, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Everything is going great on that side, and I plan to stick around for some time making videos like this, and I hope you guys enjoy watching them. I'm going to try to get you more actual firearm videos out there. I'm going to probably have to pull in a few more favors to get access to some guns that I don't have, to keep things interesting. Of course, I'm going to pause and not talk all the time. As for reliability on this guy here, reliability has been spot on. I've put a couple hundred rounds through this thing, And I can say in all complete honesty, no fudging, no mudging, nothing. I've never had a single malfunction. Not anything. Not a failure to feed, not a failure to go into battery. Nothing. The bag's never fallen out or anything weird like that. So, to people who say that you can't trust Chinese stuff, I would completely trust this if I was a security guard. And the funny thing is, too, the cost. The cost is a huge difference. In Canada, these were about $300 before good old Trudeau there shut down the firearm industry pretty much overnight. And it's interesting that that's the one feature that stopped us from being adopted by the U.S. military en masse, is the fact that they were too expensive. Of course, you see me struggling with a simple screw, because that's the way life is. I've completely taken this gun apart because I want to learn everything, so I know it for a fact it comes apart exactly like a Sig P226. In fact, it's so similar, I just call it my Sig P226. Flick it back up. And we're back in action, everybody. Alright, again, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll be back with some more cool gun videos. Alright, guys, take it easy. Have a nice day. Depending on the time of year, enjoy whatever you're eating special. Probably, if you're American, this is going to come out around Thanksgiving. Alright, guys, bye-bye.